Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Follow me on Twitch to watch these runs live, and like and subscribe for more recognition next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Margott the Omen King, also known as Margott the Omen. It's not the best fake name. It'd be like if I said my name isn't Tulok the Barbarian, it's Tulok the Barbarian. Or just like Tulok the Barbarian, but that's what 90% of you think my name is anyway.
I'm ugly.
You're ugly and what?
Square?
No, proud.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Before we get started, quick reminder to follow me on Twitch to watch these runs live, and to watch all the other Elden Ring content we're making on this channel. I'm really proud of these videos, so check them out and let me know if you like them too. Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, let's keep it light, with weapons made of light to bash the tarnished back to the grave. Next, we need to get really sick and make it everyone else's problem. Finally, we'll become a master of disguise. Not a master of staying hidden. You'll bust out of the disguise pretty much immediately, but it's going to be convincing till it drops. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. Wisdom will be number 1. It's the best stat for simping for a cruel and indifferent god. In D&D, we call that being a cleric. Dexterity next. Margott's combos are so fast, so we need some serious strengths. Follow that up with constitution. Sure, you throw up a bunch, but considering you were locked in a sewer for most of your life, I think the nausea is justified. Strength after that, you're a pretty tough guy, even if you're more fast than meaty. Intelligence is a bit low. You understand religion enough to worship the Erd Tree, but not enough to realize why it's not replying to your DMs. We're gonna dump charisma though. You're so ugly you got banished to the sewer. That's not the reason your charisma is bad. Being ugly is a matter of taste. You were just socialized with poop. Margott is an omen. They're like normal people, but with horns. And if you're feeling horny, you're probably gonna roll up a tiefling. We're gonna go for Dispater tiefling specifically. Bump your dexterity by 2 and wisdom by 1. You can put your stats anywhere now, pretty great. You get 60 feet of dark vision to see in these subterranean shunning grounds, resistance to fire damage, and that's about it right now. More things later. For now, build your own background for acrobatics and intimidation to put out the flame of ambition. If anyone's gonna do it, might as well be Margott the Fell. We'll kick things off as a druid for 2 skills from the druid list, like nature and religion. You worship a tree. That's both. For cantrips, Shillelagh lets you use your quarterstaff using your wisdom modifier for attack and damage rolls. Obviously, the holiness of your weapon means some faith scaling is better. Primal Savagery lets you make a melee spell attack that deals 1d10 acid damage if your preferred method of fighting is just coughing on people. Not cool, dude. Social distancing, kind of important. For first level spells, Jump and Long Strider. Pretty straightforward stuff. Triple jump distance to really get in the air, and an extra 10 feet of movement speed to dash in and hit hard. The more Margott stuff comes from the second level of Druid when you can choose a Druid Circle. Spore Druids prefer plants to animals and get to make a halo of spores, forcing a Constitution saving throw on a creature within 10 feet of you as a reaction, dealing a d4 of necrotic damage to those that fail. If you spend one of your wild shapes to activate a symbiotic entity, you can double that damage, as well as gaining 4 times your Druid level in temporary HP and an extra d6 of necrotic damage to all of your attacks. Why does Margott hit harder, have more health, and pools of bubbling sickness, whereas Margott doesn't? Because he popped that symbiotic entity, baby! Third level druids can learn second level spells. Flame Blade lets you create a flaming blade that you can use to make a melee spell attack on your turns that deals 3d6 fire damage. It lasts for 10 minutes depending on your concentration, but there's no way a tarnish is going to last 10 minutes when you bring out that blood flame blade. At this level, you'll also learn Disguise Self as a Dispater tiefling, letting you change your appearance for an hour. Whether or not you want to drop that as soon as you see a tarnished in Altus is up to you. Fourth level druids get an ability score improvement. Let's start with wisdom, since that'll help your spells, and you can use it for your melee attacks if you're using Shillelagh, which you should. It's so fun to say. Shillelagh. We'll jump over to Monk now for a combo game from martial arts. That lets you make unarmed attacks as a bonus action after you attack with a monk weapon or unarmed attack on your action. Quarterstaffs are monk weapons, so good to go. And unarmed attacks can be your tail as a tiefling. It also lets you use your dexterity modifier for both monk weapons and unarmed attacks, and your unarmed attacks now deal a d4 of damage. So you can always put a little something together. You can't be wearing armor, but you get unarmored defense to patch that up, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and wisdom modifiers when you're not wearing armor. Keep it light. The last thing you want is a heavy load in the sewer. That sounded wrong. Second level monks get key points they can use to do cool omen stuff like Step of the Wind, letting you dash or disengage with your bonus action and to double your jump distance for the round. That can stack with the jump spell to really cowabunga those aerials. Patient Defense lets you dodge as a bonus action, a bit more patient than I would consider the Omen King, so maybe go for a flurry of blows instead. That'll let you make 2 unarmed attacks as your bonus action instead of 1. One of those is bound to hit even the rolliest of tarnished. If you find that the tarnished keep dashing away from you though, maybe unarmored movement would help. help. That'll make you faster when you're keeping it light. Third level monks can choose a monastic tradition. Way of the Astral Self will let you make arms of the Astral Self. That'll let you force a dexterity saving throw on creatures within 10 feet of you, doubling your martial arts die in force damage if they fail. After that, your unarmed attacks have an extra 5 feet of reach, and you can use your wisdom modifier for them instead of dexterity. You can also use your wisdom modifier for strength checks and saves. This whole suite of buffs only costs a key point, so some of those astral armaments, maybe a sword or a hammer or something, and start swinging. You also get to deflect missiles, letting you reduce damage of incoming ranged attacks by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier and monk level. You can throw the ammo back if you drop the damage to 0 and spend a key point. I'd save those key points for other stuff and just step out of the way of the arrows. Most bosses do that. Fourth level monks get slow fall, letting you reduce falling damage by 5 times your monk level as a reaction, so you can jump off a building to start a boss fight. It's the coolest way to do it, honestly. You also get another ability score improvement, so cap off that wisdom modifier for better AC, spells, saves on the monk stuff, and weapon attacks with Shillelagh and Astral Arm. Damn, more got hard focused faith, huh? Fifth level monks get an extra attack for 2 attacks with your action, 3 with the martial arts, or 4 with a flurry of blows. That's gonna be really fun to try and dodge for the first boss. I'm sure it won't scare away a bunch of new players. You also get Stunning Strike, letting you spend a key point to force a wisdom saving throw on a creature you hit with a weapon attack, telling that they're stunned until the end of your next turn, so all of your follow-up attacks will have advantage. It's absurdly good, definitely my favorite use of the key points. Your monk die also bumps up to a d6 here, so those extra punches will punch a little better. 6th level monks get key empowered strikes, make your unarmed attacks magical in terms of overcoming resistances. Not a huge deal for Astral Self monks, but it can save you from activating the Astral Arms if you want. But if you also want Astral Eyes, use Visage of the Astral Self to spend a key point and enjoy 120 feet of dark vision, advantage on insight and intimidation checks, and you can boom your voice to be heard from 600 feet away. Announce you're coming to kick someone's ass from the top of the tower with advantage on intimidation checks, then plummet 200 feet without taking damage and watch a new player pee their pants. 7th level monks get evasion, letting you take half damage on failed dex saves and no damage on successful ones. Sure, I shouldn't expect a boss to stand still for my fireball to hit them, but why put the fireball in the game? The bosses can just step out of the way. Stillness of Mind lets you remove an effect of charming or frightening on yourself as an action, letting you steal your will for the Erd Tree. The Erd Tree, that hates you. 8th level monks get another ability score improvement. Let's start working on that dexterity for better AC and attacks that don't require you to activate another ability. Sometimes charging up isn't as fun as just diving in right away. Now we need to get those holy simping powers, so jump over to Cleric, specifically War Cleric, which will give you the War Priest ability to make an attack as a bonus action an amount of times per long rest equal to your wisdom modifier. Basically, that just means that you can use your quarterstaff instead of an unarmed attack, which would be like, slightly better. We're really here for more spells. Sacred Flame lets you force a dexterity saving throw on a creature. Failing that, they take 3d8 radiant damage, and it ignores cover, so those spammed daggers will be very hard to avoid. Word of Radiance forces a constitution saving throw on creatures within 5 feet of you, dealing 3d6 radiant damage to those that fail if you'd rather just swing around a light hammer that's literally made of light. As a War Cleric, you get Shield of Faith for free to add 2 to a creature's AC for 10 minutes, depending on your concentration. That pairs really well with unarmored defense to get your AC absurdly high. Divine Favor lets you add a d4 of radiant damage to all of your weapon attacks, which includes unarmed strikes. It's a weird definition thing, but hey, the Erd Tree is a weird thing to define, ain't it? For bigger lasers to spam, Guiding Bolt is a ranged spell attack that deals 4d6 radiant damage and gives the next person attacking that target advantage. That person attacking could be you with War Priest. Throw a light spear in and then bash someone with your stick. 2nd level clerics can channel divinity in one of 2 ways. All clerics can turn undead, forcing a wisdom saving throw on an undead creature, making them dash away with their action. They can't actually leave through the fog gate, but there's a cliff. The war domain option is the War God's Blessing, letting you add 10 to 1 attack roll with a weapon when you really want to hit. I always thought some of the hitboxes were just a little bit unfair. 3rd level clerics can learn 2nd level spells. War clerics get spiritual weapon for free, conjuring a floating weapon that you can command with your bonus action. Deals 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier in force damage, but another d8 if you cast it at the 3rd level, or another d8 every 2 levels above the 2nd. So that's 3d8 at 4th level and 4d8 at 6th level. There's no reason I'm stopping at 6th level specifically. It's the highest level spell you're gonna get. Oh, also it's not concentration, so you can have your spirit hammer or sword up while concentrating on something like Shield of Faith if you want. The aid spell also doesn't require concentration and just gives 3 creatures 5 extra HP for the next 8 hours. That also increases by 5 for every level you upcast it, which you should do since you're going to have higher level slots from multi-classing. Just give yourself a few extra levels of HP for the 2nd round with the Tarnished. That should be fun. 4th level clerics get another ability score improvement. Cap off your dexterity now for 20 base AC or 22 with Shield of Faith up. Also, for better basic weapon attacks, now you don't have to cast cast Shillelagh for any reason, other than how fun it is to say. We'll finish this off with some more Druid levels. 5th level Druids can learn 3rd level spells, Elemental Weapon gives a weapon +1 to attack rolls, and you can add a d4 of Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder damage to its hits. You can upcast this to the 5th level for 2d4 and +2 to the attack rolls if you wanted a good way to use your 5th level slots. 6th level Spore Druids get Fungal Infestation, letting you raise a creature that dies to serve as a zombie under your control an amount of times per long rest equal to your Wisdom modifier. That means a few Guardians can hang out outside your arena, bully the Tarnished into losing a few flasks before they come in, make your job a lot easier. Your Halo of Spores also deals a d6 now, or 2d6 with Symbiotic Entity up. 7th level Druids get 4th level spells. Guardian of Nature lets you choose between 2 suites of buffs. Obviously, we're going to go for the tree one. That gives you 10 temporary HP, advantage on Constitution saving throws, including concentration, turns the area within 15 feet of you into difficult terrain, and lets you make Dexterity and Wisdom-based attack rolls with advantage. That's all of your spells and monk attacks. It lasts for a minute depending on your concentration, and lets you make phase 2 a full-on nightmare of slime, hard to avoid attacks, and I guess a little extra HP too. Our capstone is the 8th level of Druid for one last ability score improvement. Let's go for Resilient in Constitution. That'll round up the score for 20 more HP at this level and give you proficiency with those saving throws for a +7 bump to concentration at this level. It's actually really good taking it this late. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you don't stop with 2 attacks on your action, followed by a 6th level Spiritual Weapon bonus action and 2d6 necrotic damage as a reaction from your Symbiotic Entity spores. That is nice and consistent damage. You're also very hard to take down with around 163 HP if you spend a 5th level slot on aid, followed by another 32 temporary HP twice a day from Symbiotic Entity, or effectively 227, and 20 base AC, possibly 22 depending on how you want to use that concentration. Finally, you're fast, huge jumps in movement speed with the ability to stop people from getting away with Guardian of Nature. For weaknesses, you're ugly. So ugly that everyone hates you. Bleak. You also have a highly in-demand bonus action. Sure, all the options are good, but you can only make 1 bonus action per turn. Finally, your spell list is loaded with concentration, so it's another place you're going to need to make decisions. But that just kind of means you have an embarrassment of riches. It's a shame that you're the embarrassment of your family. Work harder than everyone, stick to your unyielding sense of duty, and bring a train of pain to the Tarnished. Just remember, being number 1 could put a target on your back. Being the golden boy might be more trouble than it's worth. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We're making a ton of extra Elden Ring content over here. You can also watch me stream Elden Ring over on Twitch. It's always more fun with more people in the chat, so come say hi and ask me all your burning questions.